All right, you guys, the next thing we're going to look at is activity-based costing, and that's on page 171. And they're using the figures that you just did for job order costing in problem 8.2. So what you're looking at is XYZ Diagnostic Center wants to develop a product cost for the following CT procedures using labor expense and supply expense to assign direct cost and machine minutes as a cost driver to assign indirect cost. Projected cost totals for the CT department are 10 million. You got 6 for direct cost and 4 million in the indirect cost. And then they want you to assign cost to each procedure. You've got to make sure you look at the equipment use. They usually take 60 minutes, and whatever amount you do, you project that, and you could do the figures, and I'll show you that later. So what you're looking at the beginning is you see your CT scan, upper GI, chest x-ray, and hand x-ray, your projected volumes, your labor expense, your supply expense, and the equipment use. So step 1 says calculate the direct RVU and the cost driver for each procedure. It's a two-part step. And then we're going to divide the total direct sample cost by the greatest common denominator. So if you turn over to page 172, you'll see where they took the procedure and they added that labor expense and supply expense. You see where they got $90, and then they added 50 and 20, they got 70. And then the greatest common denominator of those numbers are 5. So you divide it by 5, and that's going to give you your direct RVUs. So that's the first part. So then you go down to the second part, and what they want you to do is divide the total sample indirect cost by the greatest common denominator. So now we're going to look at equipment used in minutes. So what you're doing is you see procedure A, B, C, and D, and they've got total sample indirect cost. That's actually when the equipment was used. If you'll flip back over to page 171, you'll see in the little box where it says equipment used, you see 30, 30, 20, and 10. That's what you're going to put here under the total sample indirect cost. And then you're going to divide that by the greatest common denominator, which is 10, and that's going to give you your RVU. The next step says calculate the total cost for each procedure, a 7-part process. Part 1, again, we're going to write the procedures down because we're looking at those 4. You got your RVUs, which you calculated at the top where it says direct RVUs. The projected volume came from page 171, and then it's going to give you the total of your RVUs. You're just doing simple math through that. If you go over to page 173, this is the second part. You're going to calculate the total projected cost drivers by multiplying the RVUs per procedure by the projected volume per procedure. So again, A, B, C, and D, and then your RVUs that you calculated over on where you were using the equipment use is at 3321. You're going to multiply it by that projected volume. You can look on page 172 where you got the 1,000, the 2,000, the 4,000, the 5,200. When you multiply those, that's going to give you your total cost driver. Step 2, part 3 says calculate the direct cost per RVU by dividing direct cost by total RVUs. So you're looking at that 6 million, which was on page 171 that told you that was the direct cost, divided by the total RVUs, which is on the bottom of page 172, is at 100,000 equals 60. Step 2, part 4 is where you take that 4 million from the problem on page 171, that's your indirect cost, and divide it by 22,200, which came up right step 2, part 2, and that's going to give you $180.18. Step 2, part 5, it says calculate the direct cost per procedure by multiplying the direct cost per RVU by the RVUs in each procedure. Again, the procedure setup, you got your direct cost, which is 60. We did that in step 2, part 3. That's that 6 million from the problem. It's divided by that 100,000. And then your RVUs, which is that 18, 14, 7 to 5, and that was in step 1. And then you do the math, and that's going to give you your direct cost procedure. If you turn over to page 174, this is step 2, part 6. Again, the procedure, your indirect cost and cost drivers came from the step 2, part 4, where you took that 4 million from page 171 in the problem, that indirect cost, multiply it by your cost driver, which you did that on step 2, part 2, and that's going to give you your indirect cost procedure. And then step 2, part 7, calculate the total cost per procedure by adding the direct cost. And you add them together and get your total cost procedure. What you do is, guys, is you're just going to take these this formula, the way the format's set up, and you're going to plug your numbers in. So you're doing it step by step. It's telling you exactly what they're looking for. So this is going to help your homework with activity-based costing. Again, if you have any questions regarding this, please contact me. I will post your homework today. Thank you.